Hello, my name is Beth Hensel and I'm the principal oboe with the La Crosse Symphony Orchestra. I'm so happy to be joining publicly with the LSO audience for the first time this season. The last time I was with you all was during our memorable offering of Beethoven's extraordinary Fifth Symphony. Last March indeed feels like a lifetime ago, but I will never forget that performance. During the month of December, the LSO's Meet the Musicians series turns its attention toward traditions. And just as for many of my musical colleagues, traditions flood my senses during the holiday season. And music has been the most constant figure in those traditions, spanning from childhood through adulthood. During my elementary years, attending a one-room parochial school, the children's Christmas Eve service was the focal point of our musical efforts each year. Singing in English, German, and Latin, the worship service included chant, carols, Luther's beloved chorales, and Bach for treble voices. After completing my bachelor's degree at the Juilliard School in New York City in the spring of 1988, I returned to the area and began my tenure with the LSO. That same year, I began two other community gigs that would prove to be favorites on my list of holiday traditions. And that was, I performed with the Viterbo University Music Department's annual Christmas concert, and I played my first Christmas Eve midnight mass at the Cathedral of St. Joseph the Workman. Now, in those days, Viterbo had a tradition of its own, a 3-year rotation of Handel's Messiah, Menotti's Amal and Night Visitors, and a program of the music director's choosing. And I really loved playing with many of my LSO colleagues during those beloved holiday traditions. So the excerpt that I played at the beginning of this segment sets the stage for Menotti's opera as Amal plays and gazes out his window at a star with a tail as big as a kite. The last time that Viterbo staged a production of Amal and the Night Visitors was in 2013. As usual, I played in the pit orchestra that year, but that year also my 10-year-old son, who was a member of the La Crosse boy choir at that time, was chosen as one of the two Amals for that year's productions. So you can imagine that experience will forever remain a highlight of my musical career and hold a special place in my heart. This year also marks the 33rd year that I will perform for Christmas Eve Mass at the Cathedral. It won't take place at the customary midnight hour or include the usual cast of musicians, full choir, brass quartet, and oboe. But still, some of the traditional favorites are on the menu, including the music director's beautiful arrangement of Silent Night with oboe descant. And I will truly miss joining with some of my LSO colleagues who typically play for that highly sacred, exquisite holiday tradition with me at the cathedral. And finally, I will miss performing with the orchestra this year for the LSO's annual holiday concerts, which showcase a variety of sacred and secular favorites, including having dancers, singers, and orchestral gems on the concert list. And probably one of our most treasured local holiday traditions is when the audience joins the orchestra on the final number of those concerts, the Finnegan Christmas Sing-Along. So indeed, though we are bereft of some of our most beloved holiday traditions this year, let us join our hearts and minds in thanksgiving for the blessing of friendship, the warmth of love, the power of faith, the gift of music, and the resiliency of the human spirit. Thanks to our local frontline workers, giving ceaselessly of themselves to keep our community safe and to heal those who are suffering from this devastating pandemic. And as we enter this season of giving, please remember the arts in our community and consider giving a much-needed gift of support to your local treasure, the La Crosse Symphony Orchestra.